What's up, everybody? Trippy Speaks UFC here. We are the champions of the MMA content creation world. The rest are just contenders. And look, let me just remind you guys real quick, every like, every comment, and every subscriber gives me motivation daily to bringing you guys the best MMA content on YouTube. That is a fact. Hey, and let's talk about this real quick. So Anderson Silva has expressed interest into boxing Jake and Logan Paul. Now, I know what you guys are thinking right off the bat. You're like, hey man, it's not a good fight for Anderson. Anderson's 44 years old or 45 years old, however old. But Anderson Silva, as you guys just know, just came off a dominant boxing performance against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a former boxer, which Anderson is way older than. Hey, look, man, I understand that nothing's final until contracts are signed, but honestly, if you guys know the Paul brothers, and if I'm Logan Paul, I think that he's gonna accept this, you guys. I strongly believe that this fight can absolutely happen. Logan has expressed interest to continue boxing, and he says that he's hungry and already ready to hop back in there. And Anderson Silva basically called him out. He said that he respects the Paul brothers, but he would love to box them, and that is his goal to do so. Hey, look, man, and he just went in there with the boxing GOAT, or one of the boxing GOATs, and bro, if Logan Paul really wants to carry this narrative, saying like he can really push a narrative where he says he only fights legends and really get some easy paydays out of this, man. Easy in a sense of if he loses, it's still a win because he lost to one of the greatest strikers, greatest fighters in UFC history. If he wins, he just beat one of the UFC's greatest legends of all time. So if he wants to go ahead and keep going with this whole legend killer narrative or whatever he wants to call it, dude, that is PR gold right there. These guys are smart, man. But as for Logan, bro, he can't keep taking L's. I don't care even if it is against legends. Eventually, it's like, dude, okay, you're boxing legends, sure, but you're gonna keep losing. I mean, that's not flattering. And as for Anderson fighting Jake, the other brother, obviously he's currently signed to a fight right now, but if Jake wants to fight Anderson after his next fight, obviously Jake will make the whole build-up hard to watch with him constantly disrespecting and talking trash to Anderson Silva, which is just going to make a lot of people's skin boil. But dude, he could make it fun, and he can make it an interesting build-up. Dude, that just blows me away because that is money right there, man. These freaking Paul brothers, bro, you gotta hand it to them. They are doing their thing right now, making a ton of cash. And I know what you guys are thinking. Oh my gosh, Anderson's a legend. He shouldn't step in there. He called them out. What can we say? He's the legend, so he makes the decisions. We're not. We're just the fans. So shut up. If he boxes them, he boxes them. What can we say? But enough about that. Let's get into the matchups. How do these guys match up? And who is likely going to win come fight night? Honestly, this right here sets itself up to be an entertaining boxing match. And as for the matchup, before you guys go and start writing Anderson Silva off, I actually favor Anderson Silva in both of them, and here's why. Because, okay, I know these guys are literally 2 decades younger than Anderson. Anderson Silva just showed us that he can move, he can get away from the punches, he can get out of the way of the punches, he can dish it out, and he can take it back, just like he did in his old UFC days. And get this, this is one of Anderson's first boxing matches to go that long. And so, 44 or 45, however old he is or not, dude, you're new to this game. So that means is that despite your age, you're only going to get better. You may not get stronger, you may not get faster, but you will get better technically and get sharper because you are training in something that you haven't reached your limit in. He's reached his limit in mixed martial arts and he's starting to decline in age, but in boxing, we have no idea what's Anderson Silva's potential in boxing. So I know what worries fans is that Silva's chin. Can he still take punishment? Well, he just did off of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., which I don't even have to tell you guys why he's a way better boxer than Jake and Logan Paul. But I know that you guys are worried about that. And the truth is that if he boxes Logan Paul, there isn't a big fear of the knockout. Logan Paul is younger, sure. He's been in there with some tough guys, yeah, sure. But the guy does not have one-shot knockout power like he claims. The Paul brothers are both deceptively good. And what I mean by that is their offense is very exceptional. It's very exceptional. But their defense, we don't know how good it is. And what we saw against Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather is that Floyd Mayweather was damn near, like in the ring at least it looked, was a foot shorter than freaking Logan Paul, and he was tagging Logan Paul, and Logan Paul gassed out, and he only relied on the clinch and putting all his weight on him to survive. Essentially with Anderson Silva, the much bigger man, he's not going to be able to clinch up and do what he did against Floyd Mayweather to survive that. In a professional boxing match, I'm assuming it would at least go 8 rounds, and so Logan Paul doesn't generate that kind of power simply because of his technique. He throws nothing but arm punches. The guy never puts his waist or his legs into his punches. All arm punches, especially when he gets tired. And the fact is that is going to stop Logan's speed. It's going to really damage his speed, and it's really going to take off a lot of that potential power that he has off of his punches. Now, in a training camp leading to Anderson Silva, there's room for improvement, and he can definitely improve and use his legs and use his hips more to throw those punches to hurt Anderson. But the truth is that Anderson's last 3 fights in the UFC, all those guys hit harder than Logan Paul, guaranteed. Logan's advantages is his size, maybe his reach, but he doesn't, and his strength, I'll give him that, but he doesn't have the speed advantage, neither does he have the technical advantage in a boxing ring. Anderson Silva moves like how he moves, and he improves on his defensive striking and his counter boxing. He starts using that and starts playing mental games and mind games like how he does against his opponents in the UFC, against a nervous Logan Paul in front of an entire crowd. He is going to give him problems, big problems. The number one thing is the footwork is going to give Logan Paul a ton of problems, and the speed of Logan Paul. Anderson is going to get out of the way of almost every single one of those punches, and he's going to counter him. Now, Logan, yes, is going to put up a good fight because Logan is just no scrub in boxing, but the truth is that I think Anderson Silva in a fight will outpoint, and there's a potential chance, I can 100% see a scenario where he completely outclasses Logan Paul the same way he outclassed Julio Cesar Chavez, 100%. And as for the baby brother, Jake Paul, now this Jake Paul gives Anderson Silva more problems than Logan Paul does because Jake has legitimate power. He hits way harder than his brother, and so if there's any fight, if there's a boxing match for Anderson where I fear the knockout, it is if he fights Jake Paul, because although I wouldn't say that Jake is a better boxer than Logan, I actually think they're about the same, because where Jake exceeds in, Logan is piss poor in, and where Logan exceeds in, Jake is piss poor in. And so it's like Logan is better at picking his shots, but he's slow as hell. Jake is also not very fast, but he launches like a freaking rocket with those punches, and it could put down a freaking mule. No joke. That's the only thing about Jake Paul. But the thing is, the way Jake Paul throws punches, that combination that he knocked out Ben Askren with isn't going to get in 100-mile radius of Anderson Silva's chin. He is going to see it from a mile away, and that is with the regression of his skills and his reflexes. Anderson is going to see it, and he's going to get countered for it 100%. I can absolutely see Anderson Silva, with his veteran experience, outclass Jake Paul in a boxing ring as well. Call me crazy, I don't care. He moves like how he did against Julio Cesar Chavez and possibly makes improvements. He is a problem for the Paul brothers. He can be the one to defeat both of the Paul brothers. But let me know what you guys think. Should this fight happen or should it not? It's been rumored, but I wanted to talk about it. Once again, it's been your boy Trippy, and I'm out, man.